Progressive Mind Show, your number one community building show in the world. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, Alinko.
Okay, it's another beautiful Wednesday. It's 6 p.m. and we have gathered to build our community through these dialogues that we have week in, week out. Welcome, everyone. This is the Progressive Mind Show. We are located right here in the most beautiful city in the world, Chicago. We will be talking to our guests very soon, but before that, we will take up to Mike's segment. When we come back, the reason why we're here will be unfolded. And so we are asking you all to share the feed as you're watching on Facebook now and on YouTube. I'm your host, Alinko. Captain Mike will take you from here and give us the latest in health, sports, and weather. My brother, you said you had a great week, and I had a great week too, even though he hadn't been perfect because of the rains. But, we'll take the rains than snow. A lot of people will take rain compared to than snow. So take it from here, bro. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, we're in a drought in northern Illinois, so we need the rain. So as unfortunate as it is, we need a lot of rain to catch up to our normal hydrology this year. But guess what? For the rest of tonight, we have some clearing skies, going to be partly cloudy skies, down to about 70 degrees. We're going to call it a chance of rain. Right now at Midway, you have 78 degrees. Winds are out of the south at about 7 miles an hour, mostly cloudy skies. Now, for the rest of the week, it's going to be a bit cooler for those of you who do not like the real hot weather. So Thursday, about 73 degrees, clearing skies later. Friday, possible rain early. It's going to start clearing later in the day. Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have clear skies and pretty warm. High of about 88 both days. Well, I'm sorry, high of about 82 on Saturday, high about 88 on Sunday. Monday, we're going to keep that partly cloudy skies, 87 degrees. Tuesday, maybe a slight chance of rain later in the day, high of about 72. And Wednesday, right now, looking at slightly cooler, about 67 degrees, and we have we're going to call it a chance for rain with those east winds that are swinging around to cool it off a little bit. Looking at sports, the Cubs lost to the Brewers 15-7, and the Twins will be playing the White Sox later tonight, 7:10 start. In the health and fitness, right now we're going to talk about weather safety, tornado safety. And as we know, Monday we're going to keep that partly cloudy sky, a tornado in the western suburbs, a couple touchdowns, and there was some damage, some injuries. And thankfully, there were no fatalities. So what do we have to do during a tornado? Well, first we'll define a tornado. What is a tornado? A tornado is a violently rotating column of air extending from the base of a thunderstorm that reaches the ground. So what we want to think about is before, during, and after. So before, well, we're going to talk about the difference between a warning and a watch. A watch means the conditions are likely for a tornado, and a warning means there has been a tornado spotted. So during a watch, that means be prepared. Prepare early. And this is even before talking about severe weather. Now would be a good chance to start getting everything ready. So check your forecast regularly. Sign up for updates. Go to the National Weather Service, nws.org, or I'm sorry, .gov. Sign up for updates. Choose a safe place in your house or building. Make sure it's on the lowest floor. There are no windows, and in the interior part, practice that plan. Help other people practice and come up with a plan. If there is a tornado warning in the area, action. Seek shelter immediately. If you're outside, you're in your car, you're not in a safe area. Try to find a building. If you're in a neighborhood, maybe try to knock on someone's door to get inside, to get into the basement where it's safe. If not, if you're outside, try to find a ditch or a ravine and make sure you cover your head. After a tornado, make sure you contact loved ones or friends, let them know you're okay, and help others. Make sure you help. If they're in injuries, make sure you can try to find medical attention for them. So we're going to stay safe this year because there are possibilities of tornadoes in the Chicago area. And with that, Sina, we're going back to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Captain Mike. We appreciate your updates week in, week out. I know the airline industry is picking up gradually. Any quick updates for us?
Yeah, we're about 77% of the amount of passengers we had back in 2019. So we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely.
Absolutely, my brother. Thank you as always. We shall see you hopefully next week, same time.
All right, same time, same channel.
Absolutely. Stick around and enjoy the show and follow this project. This is a very big one coming to Chicago. You want to listen to this one and share it with your friends as well, brother.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, back to the reason why we're here. The main entree for the evening is this two gentlemen. Actually, it was supposed to be three. We lost one. No, we didn't lose one. He just caught up somewhere in traffic. Unfortunately, he cannot make it. So we're going to be talking to this great gentleman here who are the reason for the show. So as you may have seen on social media, we have titled today's episode as Trecc. It is June 30th. Sorry, I was going to say June 20. June 30th, 2021. It's about 9 p.m., almost 6 p.m., 9, right? 6 p.m., 9 minutes. So I would say 9 minutes past 6 p.m. Central Time. And we are going to kick off the show right away. Good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to the Progressive Mind Show. Today, we are very honored and privileged to have our guest who will be discussing with us real estate and clean technology, as well as philanthropy projects in our communities. If I say in our communities, we're going to start. The project is going to start with Chicago. But please stay with us. You understand why we're here this evening in detail. Trecc is also FBRANDS. Why? We will also get to know in a little bit. FBRANDS LLC is a company that exclusively focuses on clean and green real estate development assets in the areas of mixed use, commercial, residential communities, and solar farms. They are different from other real estate and clean technology companies. Why? Again, we will know. Without much ado, we would want to introduce our guest for this evening. First on the list is DEJUAN, who is a co-founder of FBRANDS LLC, Trecc. His background consists of serving as a senior advisor on federal and state regulatory matters for Fortune 500 companies, both which consist of local government, businesses in areas of finance, healthcare, and whatnot. The other guest who is not here, DEANDRE, we'll skip DEANDRE and go to SENYO. SENYO is here. SENYO is also a co-founder of FBRANDS, and he is a seasoned business professional with years of experience in the United States and global markets. He is the lead executive of Technology Management Group, which oversees the development of power distribution in West African countries. He also manages the relationships between the relationship with the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. Also, let me put it this way: he monitors the relationship between World Bank, International Monetary Fund, IMF, the United States Export and Import Bank, and the African Development Bank. Again, we'll skip DEANDRE since it's not on the show. If he does join us, we'll try and get his bio for you guys. And I would like to go straight to my great guests, DEJUAN and SENYO. You're welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Good evening, Senator. Thank you for having us.
Thank
No,
you.
excellent, my pleasure. Gentlemen, first of all, so there are three of you that are co-founders of FBRANDS. Now, we also know that there is Trecc. We want to try and establish the relationship, but before we do that, take a minute to address our audience who DeAndre is, apart from what I have read about you, and then we'll go. Then we'll have Senyo do same as well.
So, DEJUAN Kia, born and raised Detroit, Michigan. Went to Carbondale, Illinois, played football down there. Left there and went to Springfield, Illinois, and got involved in government, particularly lobbying. Had a real estate background growing up. Been exposed to those things from my childhood with my father and the work that he was doing around real estate projects. And so after just, expending a lot of time and energy lobbying and representing Fortune 500 companies, various organizations, wanting to see the change that we weren't really seeing in various communities, we decided to kind of partner together and dive in and start getting involved in real estate to really change the narrative within communities that are underserved, particularly African-American communities that tend to be overlooked when it comes to big developers within the city of Chicago, but then also other cities when you go across the nation. And so that's just a little quick, dirty background about myself in terms of where I'm from, where I went to school, and sort of my matriculation here up into Chicago and into what we're doing here around FBRANDS.
That is beautiful. DeJuan, if you're not working in your current position and doing all these projects that you're currently on, what do you do outside all of this? Who is DeJuan outside all of this?
Outside of all of this, DeJuan is a father and a husband. My wife is Nigerian. She's Yoruba. Parent, my mother-in-law and father-in-law are from Lagos. Our son, Isaiah Prince Akambola Kia, is half African-American and half African. And so, that's really where I spend a lot of my time when I'm not working is, building that relationship and definitely doing my best to be a good father and a good husband.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for a great response. Senyo.
Yes, Senyo ADOR.
Yeah.
Okay. My lineage is Ghanaian, West African. My mother and father both are from the Volta region in Ghana. Came to the United States with hopes of, laying a foundation for their children. And I laid close hold to that, coming from a long line of engineers and infrastructure developers. I found myself in the space of electrical engineering. Went to school at Southern Illinois in Carbondale, where I was able to meet, DeJuan. And at that time, we didn't know what the future held for us, but it seems as fate would have it, in our respective careers, we were both kind of forging towards a similar future. What does development mean for our people, right, in general, and how do we increase the equity and inclusion as with respect to infrastructure development in the global community? So it's been a culmination of both my past and DeJuan's past that have come together to bring forth, FBRANDS as a company and Trecc as a project. So it seems like it's a great representation, of all the work that has been done, not only by us, but those who have preceded us. So I'm glad to be a part of the team. I'm glad to be here with you as we continue to grow our community and our alliances towards this, mutual goal of development for our people.
Thank you so much, Senyo, for that insight. And again, if you are not outside your professional career and all these projects you're working on, who is Senyo?
So Senyo is a father, a brother. I'm really a family person and a community person. I'm a fiance, soon to be husband. So I'm very excited about that. And much like DeJuan, I'm always putting meat on the fire, and getting people around to enjoy themselves and enjoy in merriment. If I'm not working, I'm having fun.
No, thank you so much for again that insight. Now we know who you are. We understand that you are not just some figures out there who is trying to do something, but you're one of us who is trying to use your talent, your skills, your experience for the benefit of our society at large. And so it's very beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing. The connection here, is beautiful. We see diaspora already, even without trying. And this is something we can try and get into during our conversation. But some people would wonder, because when we were promoting it, we promoted the Trecc project, which we want to get into. But also Trecc is connected to FBRANDS. So let's talk a little bit about FBRANDS. And then we can also try to connect, because I know it has some ties to Impact House and all of that. So let's try and get into the background of it. DEJUAN, give us a little background of FBRANDS. I think you got yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
There we go. So the background with FBRANDS really stemmed from us really getting together with retired Chicago Bears player Israel Adonijah, and he was sharing with us, his vision around philanthropy and his time and experience going to various galas in Chicago, speaking to the money that is sort of locked up that want to be active and play, but folks didn't want to continue to contribute to the traditional organizations. And so, we linked up with him. He shared his vision with us. We connected him with what we were doing around mixed use real estate. And then we really kind of refined things a little bit during the pandemic to really shift towards where, the world is headed, which is around clean energy. And so incorporating, really the backgrounds that we have is what really started and sparked FBRANDS and our journey here with Trecc, of which we're, the plan here is not only just to start it here as the headquarters here in Chicago, but we've already had conversations and looked at sites in my hometown of Detroit. Also, we're, talking about whether we're going to do Nigeria or Ghana first. I think SENYO might win that argument. My wife would have different sayings on that and different thoughts, but, we're going to take this brand globally because ultimately what we're looking to do is make sure that our community is part of the growth that's happening around technology and renewable energies. But the Impact House really, kicks in a different component to what we can really bring to the table as far as an affiliate and a partner, with FBRANDS and with Trecc. And that is all those grand tours that Israel brought together at 200 West Madison that our general contractor built out. These are folks that have always kind of functioned and operated separately, but Israel was able to bring them together. And the point of him bringing those folks together was for a bigger cause, to really start to begin to make more connections with the grand tours, with people within the communities that are doing the work. And you and I know, and I think SENYO know as well, that if you're not in the same circles as the wealthy folks, then they won't know you. They don't know who's really doing the work. And I think that's what we're looking to, bridge together, with the work that he's doing at the Impact House, and then what we're going to be doing here at Trecc around workforce development and supporting entrepreneurs, small businesses, helping them get seed funding, venture capitalist funding, as well as continuing to, just really push out both of those missions collectively, side by side.
Thank you so much for that response. SENYO, would you want to add anything to that?
I mean, I think DEJUAN hit it on the head. If I were to add anything, the focus is infrastructure, and not just physical infrastructure, right? You're talking about financial infrastructure, social infrastructure, political infrastructure, because at the end of the day, to build a project is great. And that will look nice for the company's profile and portfolio. But if you're talking about sustainability, right, that is being able to link all the components and the tenets of infrastructure together. That's a model that allows you to last. So that's the I guess the North Star, if you will, of FRBANDS, is really getting at the root of the issues that say, why are these one-off projects going on and they're not sustaining the community around it? So that's the only thing I would add there.
Yeah, thank you. And I think what your response just leads to the next question, which is Why? What makes FBRANDS different from? Because there's a lot of projects, huge projects going on in Chicago, real estate projects, both commercial and residential. So what would be so unique about FBRANDS, with more specifically with with FBRANDS project, which is Trecc, that is coming? Maybe DEJUAN would want to respond to this quickly before SENYO comes in.
Sure. I mean, I think that, FBRANDS, and particularly Trecc itself, is a true reflection of, our journeys, prior to us really reconnecting and figuring out how do we build and create a product that is workforce development, supporting the community and every angle and every shape, but more importantly is resilient to climate change and resilient to economic change. And so, again, part of what's been missing for the continued growth of African American communities, and even some African communities for sure in Chicago, is having something that not only is a pillar, but something that is sustainable, through generations. And so we've seen people have built, beautiful companies. You think about Jet Magazine, you think about the Johnsons, you think about a lot of history here in Chicago, but unfortunately, some of those things have not been continued. They have not been able to evolve. And so one of the things that is the cornerstone for Trecc is workforce development. Technology is here to stay. We see a lot of companies automating everything that they're doing. And so being able to train the next generation of workforce in e-commerce and renewable energies, and technology and manufacturing and all those different spaces, I think is something that will separate what we're doing and how we're approaching real estate development. But more importantly, SENYO's real big background and his experience and his lineage with energy, where we're using clean technology as really a big component of what we're doing, I think is some of those things that separates our approach from other real estate developers, owners, and projects that you see in the city and also across this country. I'll kind of pause it and pass the ball.
Yeah, I know SENYO wants to add his 2 cents, but we have a caller who wants to contribute to the discussion this evening. Caller, can you tell us your name and why you're calling? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can you tell us your name and why you're calling into the show?
Grady Norwood Jr.
Okay, Grady Norwood, can you please go ahead?
Yeah, I was invited by, I think Reven gave me this invitation.
Oh, okay. So so we're talking about FBRANDS and the Trecc project coming to Chicago. If you wanted to ask any question regarding it, you can call. If not, you can go ahead and do that right now. If not, if you just want to watch the show and follow the story, you can go on Facebook, look for Progressive Minds on Facebook, or on YouTube is the Progressive Mind Show. Okay, that you can follow the story there, and then you can contribute by sending your comments in as well.
Okay, so I have to get off this call right here and get on the computers. What you telling me?
Yes, if you can just go on Facebook. If you go on Facebook and type Progressive Minds, okay.
Progressive Mind.
Yes.
All right.
Or you.
All right, because I'm in my car right now. So let's go. How long are you all gonna be on the line?
We are gonna be here till 8 p.m.
Okay. Progressive what now?
Progressive Minds.
Progressive Minds.
Yes, with the S.
And then it'll put me in.
It will pop up on the Facebook or YouTube.
Right.
Okay, you can type Progressive Minds on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we'll back to our guest. That's how it is. This is what you get. That's why we need that radio. Okay, this one is, but this is good. We get this all the time because the calling number is for people who want to chime in and ask questions, contribute to the show, but sometimes it gets confusing. So we understand. Again, go on Facebook, type Progressive Minds if you're watching. If you want to invite a friend, you can copy the link and send it to them. Same for YouTube. But SENYO, I don't know if you wanted to add your 2 cents to what you said earlier.
Sure. In terms of uniqueness of our approach.
Yes. What sets you apart?
Exactly. So I think if you're talking about our own personal journeys, that is already inherent. But in the project specifically, I see a convergence between political will, okay, and true clean tech development on the ground. And a lot of times there's a disjointment, right, between what the policy, the people in public office are pushing, and that might be an issue of exposure, access, and education, and then what the developer or the contractor is doing on the ground, how it impacts the industry and the opportunities that can be unlocked for the public at large. In this particular case, it's almost minute by minute, play by play. What is happening on the ground is very quickly reaching the ears of the decision makers in public office. So there's a harmony there that I haven't seen too often before, and I credit DEJUAN and Reven for a lot of that effort. It's a unique approach that you don't see in the private sector a great deal. So if I were to say that from a technical standpoint, if you're looking at the project, that would be a differentiator. But naturally, our connectivity to the workforce development that DEJUAN was speaking to previously is already taking place, right? And then we've been intentional about connecting with folks that are like-minded, doing similar work on the ground, and building this community before there's infusion even in the system itself, right? So everybody's proven and vetted on their own merits before the full project unfolds, and it's quite interesting to have that culmination of characters in one space, in one project, in one jointed effort. And I would say that's what separates us from the pack.
I would like to thank you so much again, SENYO. I would like to know more about your the the solar farms project, right?
Okay.
And how it ties into this project. But maybe we can retract a little bit, because you've talked about how you guys have mentioned your connectivity, and so let's go down to it. How did you all connect? You said you met at school, but how did what finally solidify your blend or your coming together, your relationship, and what led to the motivation behind this FBRANDS Trecc project coming up?
I'll take a stab at that.
Yeah.
And so, the credit, without a doubt, in terms of reconnecting SENYO and myself, goes to the other owner and partner, DeAndre Allen. I know he's not with us now, but DeAndre is a Chicago-born brother. He's been working in the trenches for decades, and also in hospitality and tourism and real estate here in Chicago. And so we got connected through his better half, Dion Hayden, who was my attorney for one of my other businesses, my lobbying firm. And so that's what really brought me and DeAndre together. She made that connection. And then as DeAndre and I kind of moved forward with trying to, really navigate what's the best way to develop and truly support communities and provide what it is communities want, not what someone is thinking makes sense from a bottom line perspective, but understanding that's important, but how do you incorporate the needs of the community within how you develop as well and make that money? And so Dre really reconnected SENYO and I. And that's when, that first meeting just kind of really tied into what we're doing. And mind you, this was really prior to the pandemic. This is when SENYO was truly the jet setter, where he was at least 6-7 times a year, on the continent, doing his work, doing his deals there. We would, be able to connect with him, get some time when he was back in Chicago to really continue to navigate and construct what we, collectively thought was the best approach to real estate development. So the credit really, without a doubt, goes to DeAndre making that reconnection. I also want to kind of give a quick shout out to the other owners that's not on here. We have Brian Waldron, who's also owner of the FBRANDS team, and Chris Thorns. And so I just wanted to make sure we acknowledge them as well. Because they're also very critical component to the team and what we're doing, and they bring a unique skill set and experience and expertise that complement what we're doing, where we all just check our egos at the door and figure out the best way to be successful. But that's how we really got reconnected and started to, really put together into motion what you're seeing here with Trecc, among other things.
Good. And so the motivation behind Trecc is what did you guys see that necessitated the concept of Trecc?
Well,
I don't know if you would want Senyo. I don't know if you want to
take a stab at that.
Yeah, no, I would like you to respond to that, but maybe Senyo wanted to say something to what the question we asked earlier. If you want to, Senyo, please, go ahead quickly, and then we can have DEJUAN continue from where I interjected. I think you have yourself muted.
No, I think it's no. I think we can move forward with Trecc.
Okay.
That's the meat and potatoes of all of it.
All right, go ahead, sir.
So if we can get to that, DEJUAN, you can.
Yeah, good. Let's get to DEJUAN. Go ahead and respond to the motivation behind Trecc. But then, Senyo, after that, I would like you to tell us a bit more about the solar farm, your project, what exactly it is you have been doing with the IMF, the U.S. Bank of Import and Export, because we want to be able to connect that right to the project at hand. And so, DEJUAN, please go ahead.
So I think, just the motivation around what we're seeing with Trecc was a couple things. We don't often, the proper way to build things is from the bottom up, right? When you build a home, you don't put the roof up first. You don't put the walls up first. You start with the foundation. And so I think with Trecc, we really looked at, what's the foundation? How do we start from the bottom up to where it is something that is supported by the community, but more importantly, also provides a resource to the community. And so the workforce development training component was something that is missing throughout, the entire Black community nationwide, not just in Chicago. I'm not saying that there aren't groups doing, training around technology, renewable energies. What I'm saying is that from a corporate perspective, a corporate non-African-American owned businesses, Fortune 500s, we haven't identified the place where they connect with their dollars and also with their job opportunities when it comes to really trying to, improve the quality of life and also create the access to opportunities, for the underserved community. And so Trecc really kind of steps in and is going to play one of those big roles there where we have the corporate relationships, because of our diverse backgrounds and our experience working with various Fortune 500 companies or representing them, so there brings a sense of comfort, a sense of warmness when it comes to understanding their business model, their language, and being able to bridge that gap, between the folks that typically don't have access to those folks or to those industries. And so Trecc is really looking to be more of a vessel more than anything to really be a connector beyond just the workforce development training, with the folks that are on the ground in the neighborhoods that have skills, that have talents, that are really superb, but that are being overlooked or aren't even being able to be accessed because corporations don't necessarily send direct recruiters or boots on the ground into underserved neighborhoods. So, that really was a big focus and a foundation for how we, decided to approach what Trecc is about and how we're moving this thing forward.
Awesome. Senyo, so how long have you been in solar technology or solar farming?
That should be 8 years now. I've been in solar.
Okay, and then you work with the U.S. Bank for Import and Export, IMF, World Bank. What role exactly the role you have played with these huge world organizations, and how does it tie into the Trecc project?
So to say one role, I think will be difficult,
Okay.
But what I can say is that I've been an actor with respect to moving infrastructure development, particularly rural electrification
Okay.
in West Africa. Okay. And the approach is to really deal with the stakeholders on the ground. So I don't come with my U.S. training and tell Ghana, tell Senegal, tell Sierra Leone what they should want. I come in listening and trying to understand where the pain points are. And then from there, it's a collaborative process with those same stakeholders to say, okay, how do we address and design issues that are customized to the countries on the ground?
Okay.
That takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of time away from family. As DEJUAN mentioned, typically 6 to 7 times a year, I'm out of the country. But it's what's necessary to have a full understanding of what is needed on the ground. Then from there, you get to the packaging, and fortunately enough, we're able to understand, with my level of experience, how to package and finance these projects. So then you enter U.S. Export-Import Bank, you enter J.P. Morgan Chase, you enter IMF, who is a regulator and kind of sets the rules and the assessments, when it comes to these countries, and then African Development Bank. All these actors are financial vehicles that allow the projects to come on. They now lean on me and the assessments. They lean on me and my experience in terms of what projects make sense and what the pathway is for execution. So that's the role right now. I'll call myself a collaborator with all parties involved.
Excellent. I think along the line, we'll try to figure out how your experience working in West Africa ties into the vision, the impact component of Trecc as a project on its own. And so thank you so much for sharing. And so how does, again, your experience in solar farming? You've been doing it for 8 years, you said, right?
Yeah, eight years. So from design to execution, we've been able to fortunately put up some solar farms, here in the States, but mainly, on the continent. So, the relevance there is that grid resilience, when we're talking about the utility, in our area in Chicago, that's Commonwealth Edison, right? So ComEd.
Yeah.
There's a traditional method that they use to generate, and that is fossil fuels, right? So you're talking of coal, you're talking of gas products, and then beyond that, you're talking of nuclear, right? And there's this push, given by the Paris Accord, that we must transition from fossil fuel-based generation to more clean and renewable means of generating electricity. Given that I've played a part on both sides, I think that there's a gap between the expectations of the clean energy efforts and what is attainable in real time. So having played a part in actually developing and executing these projects says, yes, we can achieve that, but it's not overnight. Right. And if we try to do it overnight, it's not sustainable. So that's the experience that I have, that I bring to the table with anybody on the ground, be it in the US or globally, that says they want to do a solar farm. We can go through an advisory kind of session to understand what makes sense for your particular application.
Okay. No, thank you again for sharing. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show live here in the city of Chicago. It is 41 minutes past 6 p.m. CST, and we are talking to the owners of FBRANDS and the Trecc project that is coming to Chicago. We unfortunately couldn't get DEANDRE on the platform due to a few, I think, traffic and a few hitch here and there. Hopefully, next time we should be able to have him. But we know he's listening. DEANDRE, feel free to give us a shout out wherever you're listening from. And so please share this feed, okay, so we can reach out to the community as much as possible, because this project is very important. The impact of it is what we are all expecting to see, given that the minority communities, Black, African American, Caribbeans, Africans, have been at the end of the have been struggling economically. We all know that if you live in Chicago, the struggle is real. And so we are anticipating, at least the owners of this project are anticipating, that this should alleviate a lot of the poverty and the underdevelopment issues going on in a lot of the minority communities. So we encourage you to share the feed as we talk to this great gentleman who have honored our invitation to be on this show. DEJUAN, you mentioned that you run a lobby firm. First of all, what's a lobby firm? What do they do? And what does your firm do, actually? So we can understand where you're coming from. Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay. Lobbying firm. So lobbyists are kind of quickest way to explain it.
Okay.
Is we're very similar to attorneys. Lawyers represent their clients in courtrooms before judges and jurors. And so we represent our clients before elected officials at the state level, state reps, state senators. At the local level, you have county commissioners and city councilmen or women. And at the federal level, you have congressmen and congresswomen and U.S. senators. And so, our job is to, advocate, be an advocate on behalf of our client regarding the various issues that they're trying to see change, modified. Most of what happens at the state, city, and county level is, modifications to existing laws. And so I've been doing that. It'll be about 16 years I've been doing that. And started out was the youngest lobbyist in the country and in the state, at the age of 21 when I started to lobby. And
wow.
So really understanding how government impacts everyday life, in which, unfortunately, not everyone is able to participate in and be aware of. But that is a big component of economic development. State and federal budgets, give out money to community organizations. They give out money to different groups around, quote unquote, economic development, prevention, social change, youth jobs, and those things like that. But unfortunately, what we're not seeing is that money really reach the people that truly need it most. And so being able to really tie in the elected officials and again provide them, with a space, or I would say a product that allows them to reach the people that they really want to help within their communities without them having to try to figure it out, or without the community per se trying to figure it out. That's what we're doing. We're kind of really putting together and being that vessel. And because that's really what government is for. Government really provides nothing but services, and that's all it is. So when people look to government to change their lives, they're looking to the wrong instrument. They're looking to the wrong tool. And that's because, most cases people don't understand the true function of government. It provides services, it appropriates money. That is it. And it obviously also modifies laws in which people must live by and abide by. But beyond those things, when it comes to the success that people need to have, the soft skills that you need, government doesn't train people in soft skills. When it comes to really working directly with the people that need to need the most resources, need the most support systems because of, systematic racism or intentional policies that, keep people boxed out. That's not government's role in some cases to fix all of those L's that really are problems for communities that are trying to continue to grow and that need the support. And so, I've been fortunate enough to be, one of many African-American lobbyists in Illinois to really be a part of the process, understand it, learn it. And so we're tying that into what we're doing around Trecc and around economic development to ensure that elected officials know that they have a place that is not even just a place, but they have a resource, for their community beyond their local community organizations that is going to stand there ready to partner with them and making sure that their folks in their neighborhoods and in their districts have access to the opportunities that are there. In Illinois alone, technology-related jobs that are vacant right now, there's over $1.5 billion in salaries. $1.5 billion in technology-related job openings in the state of Illinois. Government, public sector, and private sector. We currently do not have enough bodies to fill those jobs. And so we're talking about careers. We're not talking about, a minimum wage situation. We're talking about people making salary, cybersecurity experts, folks that are, making $60,000, $70,000 a year, but they're certified. Doesn't necessarily require a college degree. They get the certification and go through the process. And so those are the type of opportunities that, we're excited about being able to connect, our people to, because that's really what is going to allow them to start to change the narrative within their own communities. If you have a career, if you, are making a salary, your mindset, your network, your circle is a heck of a lot different, from when you are making minimum wage, trying to grow and get to a career. And so that also changes the decision making and how you, respond and treat your neighbors, the people that live on your block, how you treat the businesses in your own community. A lot of those things are connected to, what you're able to be exposed to in your own growth. And so, and that's things that, those are the things that we're looking to really take advantage of and be able to support where we can. But that, I know that's a little bit long answer to, the background of lobbying, but just wanted to share that kind of, with you guys.
No, it is very important. Thank you for sharing because it's what you just shared is needed for a lot of folks, especially just regular folks who don't necessarily pay attention to how things work in the back end, and so, we just tend to blame, oh yeah, we don't have jobs, we don't have this, we don't have that. And so folks would just hold the elected officials responsible for not providing these things. But the background you gave also, comes in handy because now people can understand why things might not be working or not, because there's somebody who has to advocate for the politicians or for the monies that has been allocated to literally go to where it's supposed to. And so by you doing this, did you, aside your lobbying firm, do you have, just private entities that, you run as regular businesses as well?
Say that question one more time. I want to make sure I'm following.
No, aside the lobbying firms that you run, do you have other business entities that you have run in the past as a business owner or something?
Yes, I mean the political consultant as well. Helping get elected, get on the ballot, petitions. Really the other side of the process of decision makers. I had the opportunity to really work on a lot of campaigns and support a lot of people and help raise money for a lot of folks that are in some pretty high places right now. But that's one of those other businesses that I've been able to and been fortunate enough to be able to function and run. But it's been all, for the most part, tied into government and the connectivity around government as well.
Okay, thank you. The reason why we're getting deep into these things is knowing your background is that first of all, can you tell us the 3 words that Trecc stands for? It might not be necessarily formal, but if anybody were to ask of Trecc, what were the 3 words that you would say, this is what Trecc is going to be representing in the city of Chicago?
Go ahead, Senyo. You smiling. Take a step.
Exactly. Yes, I saw that.
Go ahead.
So first and foremost, I would say community. The community is a strong component. I would say innovation is another component. And then I would say equity.
Equity.
Okay, I think is the last component.
Okay.
Yeah, equity is the last component.
We had on the promotional materials that we were using for the show. We had it. We had innovation. We had impact, and we had future. And I think innovation. You mentioned that, not word for word, but and then I think that community. We were thinking of community when we use the word impact, and so the reason why we're going this route is that, DEJUAN, would you say that by your experience working in the areas that you have been, gives you that edge because you've seen how things are played out there, and you've seen your community and you see the struggle, and so by seeing that disconnect or the lack, would you say that that is why you are going the route in which you are now?
Yeah, I would say spot on. I mean, that impact component, I mean, again, government impacts us every day, subconsciously and consciously, whether we are paying attention or not. And it really, has the ability to change the type of resources or the access to resources in our communities. Right. The type of schools we have, type of businesses we have, and all those different things as well. So impact, without a doubt, the lobbying, the legislative process, understanding lawmaking. I mean, you can't get more impactful than the parking meters that are in Chicago. Yeah. You can't get more impactful than the red light cameras that are in Chicago, but particularly in African American communities. You can't get more impactful with those things, but those things are generated out of policy and out of laws. And so if those are the type of things that can be implemented that will add a different tax to someone else, those revenues that are primarily being taxed in those communities, you would think that it would make sense to reinvest that same revenue back in those communities that you're taxing them from, right? But unfortunately, that's just not the way government works. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, and so if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, as the famous quote that former Senate President Emo Jones used to say all the time. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so impact is what we can't escape when we look at how government functions or plays a role in the lives of what we do.
We will be getting into some fine details of Trecc, the project Trecc, how it's going to be funded, how it's going to impact, and who will have equity in this, who is this going to serve, basically. And so we ask you to keep sharing the feed if you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube. We would like to take a short break. When we come back, the conversation with the owners of Trecc continues, owners of FBRANDS. Trecc continues. We want to take this quick announcement. Looks like we can't locate it, but just in the absence of that, we will take this commercial instead. Just want to remind our audience that the Progressive Minds show also has a media component. So if you're looking for a website to be designed, a logo, flyers, if you're looking for business cards to be made, anything graphics, please contact us. We'll be more than happy to serve you. We shall be right back after this break. We're back live here on the Progressive Mind Show. I'm your host, Alinko. Our guests are still here, DEJUAN and SENYO, co-founders of FBRANDS, who are also in charge of the project Trecc. We want to let them tell us some very fine details about this project. So stick around. They'll be sharing that information. But before that, let's take a few comments that have come through. This is from Toy Jones. He says, yes, this is a good information. It is nice to hear clear plan of development. Thank you so much, Toy, for your comment. Audrey Hostin says, hey, niece, this is really good. Thank you so much, Audrey. This is from Bianca Kia. Go, Kazo. I think that's what I just made the Kazo. Big up from Biggie. I know, Mr. Candyman. Audrey says, I love what y'all doing. Would love to add my expertise to this. So gratifying. Thank you so much, Audrey, again for your contribution. Black Jesus says, big up yourself, SENAALINCO, for blessing us with these shows. Thank you so much, Black Jesus. I'll tell you about his company in a little bit. Audrey, WTG. Okay, what is that? What is WT? Okay, let me.
I think that might be way to go. Way to go.
Oh, way to go. See, every day we
That's
learn.
my guess.
Okay. And this is from Rebecca. Great job, Captain Mike. That was when Captain Mike was on. So yeah, I was going to talk. Black Jesus owns. So if you have an event that you would want to have go live, any type of events, and you want to, video, want to get a videographer who can make it go live as well on social media, you want to contact Trend TV Africa. No, Trend Africa TV. Trend Africa TV. Rob Black is the CEO. We also have a quick announcement to make. So the Africa USA Today magazine is coming up with their 7th annual autumn celebration. The 7th annual autumn celebration, and it's titled Global Women Distinction. Global Women Distinction. The VIP honorary celebration is coming off live. It's Friday, 2nd July from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Venue is Lang Capital Group Studio. Address is 5401 Wentworth Avenue, Suite 12E, Chicago, Illinois 60609. You can also reach out to him. I know there's a phone number here that you can call. Dr. Wale, I don't have a phone number. Some of the special guests that are coming to this event are Congressman Daniel Davis, Tony Preckwinkle, who is the president for Cook County. We also have Dr. Stacy Lang. She's going to be the co-host alongside the chief host himself and the chief editor of chief editor of Africa USA magazine, Dr. Wale. I'll take it again. It's the 7th annual autumn celebration, Global Women of Distinction. It's happening Friday, July 2nd from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Lang Capital Group Studio, 5401 South Wentworth Avenue, Suite 12E, Chicago, Illinois. And please mark this date. Let's go back straight to our guest this evening. So let's talk about, it's 7 p.m. exactly in the studios. Let's talk about, we've mentioned, Trecc, but what is Trecc what's the problem that Trecc is going to solve in Chicago that I'll say you all have identified and reason why you are coming up with this project? Maybe the one has been responding to the question. So I'll go to Senyo. Senyo, what is Trecc what was a problem that has been identified that Trecc is going to solve?
Well, I think, the recurring theme here is building community and doing that primarily through capacity building, right, in our human resource. When you're talking about clean technology and renewable energy, yes, it's at the forefront of everybody's mind. Everybody knows that it needs to happen, and it needs to happen yesterday. But where is the talent pool to pull from, right? And you go across all the firms, Fortune 500 or smaller, companies, and the biggest pain point is fully trained, certified, and experienced personnel. Okay, so Trecc's model from the ground up is about developing that talent, nurturing that talent, empowering that talent, and putting them in position to demonstrate. So that pours into the larger economic pool, but then once that value is unlocked, it pours back into the local community as well. So we're coming from the lens of workforce development, but there's all these other areas of value that tend to be unlocked just by pure proxy to the project.
Thank you so much. DEJUAN, tell us at the end of the day, can you paint a picture in our audience minds what the Trecc project is the building is gonna look like, the whole, entity is gonna look like, the different components of it. I know you shared it with me. We have a video we're gonna play of it, but give us that picture and then we can try to watch the video. Hopefully it would make sense to our audience.
I think, the Trecc model for us is mixed use, where you're going to have a rooftop experience with the restaurant, also amenity level with the pool. But then you also will have, an office component. Mm-hmm. One of the office components will be an innovation center that will be ran by 21st Century Education. 21st Century Education is a company that is nationwide, working in different school districts, where they have a curriculum that is online, dedicated for 3rd grade through 12 students around STEM and STEAM. And so they integrate within these curriculum, teaching these kids robotics, financial literacy, you name it, whatever it is, they're doing it. Advanced manufacturing, Bitcoin. They have a whole curriculum in which they build out. But the Innovation Center, and I'm just going to read some of the training rooms that we'll have in it, mm-hmm. will be advanced manufacturing and transportation training room, entrepreneur and financial development, hydroponics urban farming center, robotics, automation, engineering, design, animation, UI, UX, cybersecurity and emerging technology, coding, hardware, and software. But then also on that innovation floor, we have a Pearson's View Center. So after people get trained, go through our program that 21st Century has an innovation center, they'll then be able to walk right down the hall to the Pearson's View Center and get certified, have their credentials, so that way then they can be ready to go apply for these technology jobs that are available. So that's one of the major elements and components of Trecc. And mind you, I will highlight that this training that will be happening will be free of charge to anyone in the city of Chicago and other cities that we're going to be going into.
Yeah, before you continue, something that I would like you to reiterate. You mentioned earlier that there's about 1.5 million or billion tech jobs in the state of Illinois right now. If you
$1.5 billion in salaries that are available right now for careers.
Excellent.
Unfilled.
Great. And it looks like there is a gap within the Black community, right, when it comes to tech professionals or tech skills, tech experts. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
We're scattered out, but there's not enough within our own community.
Exactly. So based off that, Trecc is providing a resource base where you are going to be training a lot. You're going to be providing a lot of training in this tech space to fill these jobs. However, when you train them, it's not like we're training you and then you have to wait a couple of days to get a certificate somewhere. You train them, they go through maybe a few weeks or months training, and then within the Trecc facility, you can get your certificate and be ready for the job market.
You got it. You got it. There's also an element of partnerships where we're going to be doing some job placement as well because of our strategic partnerships with various Fortune 500 companies and relationships. And so that is the other element that makes up the Innovation Center, that really kind of separates us a little bit from other folks. You have a lot of people doing training, mm-hmm. but once you get trained, are you able to also place people? And so what we've done and what we're doing is creating a sort of a closed loop situation, mm-hmm. Because currently through Synergy Academy, which is that shirt that SENYO is wearing, we've trained students in photovoltaics in terms of getting them prepared to be solar installers, contractors, and a whole host. And we've already graduated a cohort out of that. On top of that, we have a partnership with one of our other affiliates, Urban Tech Academy, that is currently within a number of schools here in Chicago, where they're teaching kids how to build computers, cybersecurity, a whole host of things. And they're also exposing them to conferences. So, we've been able to do some things from a very small scale and just kind of a pure grit approach, but Trecc is really going to allow us to expedite this process and be able to reach a lot more folks, because it will then be the center, the nucleus here in Chicago, as it's situated on Motor Road between the South and the West sides, for being able to really further this work with working with various principals and schools to continue to train these kids and have these people ready within these fields even before they graduate high school. And so that innovation center, that's really the makeup of that, hands down.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think Senyo wanted to say something.
No, I mean,
Senyo,
I think DEJUAN. Are you with me?
No,
yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure.
DEJUAN hit it on the head.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought I saw you, indicate that you wanted to say something, and that's why I wanted to bring you in. But if not, we can continue with the next question.
Please continue. I think DEJUAN has really captured everything.
Okay. No, thank you so much. DEJUAN, I wanted to know, so that's one component of Trecc. It seems as though Trecc is going to be the project that really revitalizes or reinvigorates the economic empowerment of the minority community or the Black community, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah, a great point. I think that leads me to the next component of the office element of Trecc, right?
Yeah.
So we've heard a little bit about the Innovation Center, but we also have what we call a work club. So 21st Century will be running, the work club within Trecc. And so that work club is a club where people will be able to pay for memberships to be able to utilize the space for high-level business concierge experiences, but also be able to show that they have a footprint and office location when they're going after bigger contracts. Part of the challenge with entrepreneurs, small businesses, is that when they want to, go after bigger contracts, whether they're government procurement contracts or other businesses, being able to have a place that shows well, being able to have a place that, basically translate that you're ready for business. That's what we're going to be offering with inside of the work club component, part of the office element of Trecc. And so for folks that just want to, even if you want to work from home, you just pay for an annual membership, and we have conference rooms, office spaces, mailboxes, support services, various things within that work club that the members will have access to. And then if they want to grow and need office space, they can also occupy any of the office space that they may want or need for their business size. But ultimately, it is to really encourage entrepreneurs and small businesses to, be creative, use that gift and that talent that they have to create and control their own destiny and their own future. But on top of that, there's the element that supports the Innovation Center and the office component, which will be the Capital Access Center. And so that Capital Access Center within Trecc will be a place for these small businesses and entrepreneurs to be able to have access to capital, access to venture capitalists. So we hear, folks and companies say, we're investing $150 million in the Black community and Black businesses. Well, unfortunately, we hear those announcements all the time, but we rarely ever see that actually happening.
Yeah.
And more importantly, if we do see it happen, it's actually sort of siloed. They only want to work with existing businesses. They don't necessarily have any dollars to support entrepreneurs, folks that have developed an app, e-commerce, or different things like that. And so that's what the Work Club is really going to be, to support those folks that want to develop an app. If you don't know how, we'll have the skills and the folks there to help guide that. If you need to learn how to run your business when it comes to accounting and auditing, we'll have those skills. Those things will be part of the experience for anyone that's part of that work club, whether you have an office space in there or not, or just a member. All of those tools will be available to people. So that way people don't have to really try to figure this out on their own. How do I develop, create, and run a successful business? We're going to make sure that it's easy for folks. It's at their fingertips and at their touch. And all of the experienced and resourced folks that have been doing this work for 20, 30 years, they're going to be part of what we're doing. And then there's a content component to this around creating an on-demand platform that is strictly for Trecc members only, to where they will have the ability to access any of the workshops that we're running, anything that we're doing, to be able to really tie back in to everything that we're teaching, everything that we're exposing and sharing with folks that are part of that work club component that 21st Century will be running in addition to the Innovation Center.
Wow, it is in itself sounds a very huge project. Senyo, can you tilt your phone, please, the other way? There you go. Sideways.
Oh, sideways.
Yeah, there you go. That way, good. Yeah, man. We got it. We got it. Okay. So, Senyo, I think you're very far from your phone now. I mean, you're too close to your phone, so you might want to step back a little bit, Senyo.
We can see your chin only.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about now?
This is no, don't lean forward. Just lean back, because then we can see. Yeah, we understand. I think this is virtual situation. His computer, I think, was running low on battery, so he had to switch device. I think that's what's happening. And so please bear with us.
Adapt and overcome.
Okay. So please bear with us as we try to switch around. But Senyo, we still need you to lean back. That way we can see.
Back.
Yeah. And if you can tilt to the right a little bit, because you're in the light, we can. To the other side. To the other side.
Military right. My military right.
There you go. We still got the light, but I think this is doable. Thank you so much for bearing with us, audience, while we try to get all this technology issues fixed. You're still watching The Progressive Minds. I'm your host, Alinko. Our great honorable guest, DEJUAN and Senyo, here representing FBRANDS and Trecc. Trecc is what we are talking about now. Trecc is a component of FBRAND, and it's a project, it's a business model that is new. It's going to be, it's an economic revolutionary project, the way I see it. And so we might want to take a video. Actually, I don't know, DEJUAN, are you done going through the business model? If not,
Yeah, I can wrap it up. So the office component, that workforce development and the work club are really the nuts and bolts and the main components of Trecc. Mm-hmm. But we also have a hospitality component where it's going to be a hotel on site for people that, again, if they want to host their clients, there's a space to do it. I referenced the rooftop experience, that restaurant, there'll be a place to, kind of socialize with those clients after you kind of conduct your business as well. And so really it's going to be a one-stop shop all on site. This is something that Senyo has experienced a lot with travel and his work in Dubai and West Africa and in other countries as well, where you're able to really conduct business on site. You can do your work, you can entertain your clients, and then you can also party on site, so to speak. And so that's what really Trecc is going to have. Office, hospitality, some F&B on the rooftop with the rooftop pool, a ground level retail, and parking. That is the elements of Trecc. And that will be the foundation that it will, that's the model or the product here as we move forward. And I call it the prototype. That's the prototype for the FBRANDS folks here around just that workforce development stuff that has nothing to do with our solar farm generation and our partnership with municipalities on training their workforce as well.
That is powerful. And I'd like Senyo to share his experiences, as you mentioned, with regards to what he's seen in other countries and how you envision Trecc, replicating what you've seen elsewhere, because of course how it's benefited others and how you see it being replicated here. But before that, DEJUAN, that one of the issues people have with doing business in the city is parking. And so it's great that you mentioned the parking component of, because the project is coming to downtown. And so you mentioned parking. Is it going to be the conventional parking situation where, you go to you go to a building and then you valet your car and all of that? Tell us the parking and how convenient it is, so that, of course, as audience are watching, they can have a very comprehensive view of the thought that has been put into this project.
Most certainly. So the parking system that we're going to utilize that will be, part of just kind of the Trecc model is the Dasher Lawless automated parking system. And so what they've done is they've taken what, businesses and companies have utilized when it comes to industrial side and moving manufacturing around on pallets and moving things around. They have pallets that can hold up to 6,000 and 8,000 pounds. And so in holding that amount of weight, they then have a system that pulls those cars and move those pallets around and relocates them to open parking spaces. But what it does is it allows for efficiency. With our project being located on Motor Road, we wanted to make sure that we, factored in Motor Road is the first place for the car elevator in the country here in Chicago back in the 1900s, over 100 years ago. So for us, our sort of nod and our hat tip to Motor Road was what is the next innovation in parking that allows for efficiency and also just a really cool experience. And so we'll be able to return people's cars to them within 40 seconds to 120 seconds max under the Dasher Lawless auto parking system, where people will pull their car into a loading bay, or we can have one of the valet folks pull their car into a loading bay, and then they'll be able to watch from the exterior. There'll be a glass that will show that car going up and over and moving around. Very, very similar to a vending machine, but for cars in this particular space. And so they're really big in California. They've done about 4 or 5 projects. They partner with Siemens. And then I also know that they're doing a project in my hometown in Detroit, where they're part of a residential building with that same type of system. But the automated parking system is pretty cool. It's part of a way of really improving the parking needs within urban cities. If you have a place or a city that has issues with parking, the auto parking really is a good solution for it. And it's definitely worth the bucks for sure.
Absolutely, because Chicago definitely do have parking issues, and so if this were to be done in Chicago, it will be about the 6th of this type in the entire country, because you said they have 4.
So I think our particular facility will be the largest of theirs in the nation. Wow. But definitely the first one here in the U.S. I was told by the team that they were trying to pitch it with the Obama Library and Museum, but they didn't want to do it. And so that's fine. We're happy to be the first here to showcase, the awesomeness and just the ingenuity and innovation of that system. Because in essence, say you forget, you lock your car, you leave your car unlocked, or say you leave the window down. Well, because that car is going on a pallet, no one will be able to access that car at any time. Once you pull in a loading bay and you step out, then that car is safe, secure, no matter whether the door is unlocked or not. You don't have to worry about someone scratching your car because they're opening the door, they are parked too close. Those are things you don't have to worry about. And the ability to get that car retrieved back to you and brought back to you within 40 seconds to about 120 seconds is pretty awesome.
And you said there are security cameras, of course, all over. We have people monitoring.
Yeah, there's cameras within the loading bays that can tell the height of that car, and it'll tell where to place that car. They have sensors in there. It reads license plates. It timestamps everything. When you talk about innovation, this is it. And so it also then becomes a teaching tool and an asset for, the Trecc family and the folks that are affiliated with it, to be able to, create something very similar in other industries or other spaces based on how that technology is deployed there.
Right. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Senyo, please go ahead and respond to that earlier question. If you want me to reiterate it, I will, but I want to really encourage folks that are watching to share this, because this is huge. This is going to be great for the city of Chicago. The impact is going to be bringing. It's awesome. It's very modern. It's great news. It's great news, and you have the folks who can get it done. After Senyo, we would like to look at the cost of this, how feasible, when is the duration of the project itself, and all of that. But please share the feed on Facebook and on YouTube so we can get the word out. This is very important. Also, if you want to call and share your opinion or just render your support, it's 815-277-5047. I know there are some collaborations going on right now. DEJUAN and SENYO, you know how you're trying to connect with the diaspora and all of that. So we maybe want to talk, we want to touch on that. So, but SENYO, please go ahead.
So if I remember the question correctly, you are asking in terms of my travels informing our approach to the Trecc model. Is that
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so I've been very fortunate to be able to see all levels of development around the world, and to that effect, teaming up with DEJUAN, what I realized the most and what attracted me the most to him as a business partner is his boldness. It's difficult to encounter somebody that in doing a project this massive. To have the courage to be an opinion leader and to kind of tear down the walls of what was to make way for what needs to be or what should be. So with that, he's been my constant collaborator as I, go around the world. I'm experiencing different real estate properties and we're going back and it's data collection. I'm sending the intelligence back and we're collaborating and saying, hey, is this something we can implement in the city of Chicago? Not just an edifice to ourselves as developers, but does this really impact the community in a meaningful way? Does this push the business environment forward in a holistic and sustainable way? And with that, being able to travel to, like you said, you mentioned Dubai, but even the developments back home in Ghana and also my time spent in Senegal, we were able to get the best of the best. Chicago is a world-class city, particularly when it comes to infrastructure development. You have people like Frank Lloyd Wright that are world-renowned architects, and the rest of the world looks to Chicago to point the way forward in terms of what development looks like. That's just the technical component. But as you're designing a physical space, you're also thinking about the social impact. And as DEJUAN mentioned, there's been projects that have gone on that have been beautiful structures, but socially the impact has been minimal. So the idea was we like to compete and we like to produce at the highest level. So in every area, when it comes to even our financing model, you'll see that there's an element there that we're using to push the industry forward, push society forward, push the community at large forward. And it's part of the DNA of DEJUAN, myself, DEANDRE's makeup, along with the rest of the FBRANDS shareholders. So with every effort, you'll see a technology or innovation of sorts that is disruptive, and it's purposely done so. So the idea is that energy should move from our project into the city, and if we can all establish that kind of mindset with what we do in our day-to-day, we can feed on one another, right? And it becomes a reciprocal environment where everybody is moving in boldness, everybody's trying to push the narrative forward and collectively pull ourselves together. This is a rising tide, raises all boats kind of agenda. So that's what I would say, in terms of my travels and moving things forward. I've tried my best to take the best from everything I've seen and bring it forward. Even if it hasn't been seen here before, we don't let that be a barrier. We're very mindful and intentional about making history here.
Thank you so much for that brilliant input, SENYO. Want to take a quick question from our audience. This is from Fasika. She says, where is the proposed location for this facility?
On downtown Chicago, Motor Road, Michigan Avenue and 24th Street. So literally on a historic block. It's literally part of the Mccormick Square. So where Mccormick Place is, largest convention center in North America. We're right there in the heart of all of that.
Thank you so much for a great response. I hope that it satisfies your question, Fasika. This is from David Evers. Awesome work, gentlemen. Looking forward to the impact this will have in Black communities. Thank you so much, David Evers. I know there are a lot of you watching that it has a thing to say about this project. Please go ahead and share your opinion. There are other collaborations that I know maybe DEJUAN, your team is trying to embark on to, rally the community behind this project. It may also create a lot of awareness, and so we may be able to touch on that. So DEJUAN, what is the cost of this? Now we've talked about this project a lot. We've mentioned Trecc. Let's catch a glimpse of what we're talking about. Okay. Yeah.
Welcoming you to the future.
We want to try and get it from the beginning. Here we go.
FBRANDS welcomes you to the Windy City. Tourist attractions, fine dining, entertainment, and nightlife. In the heart of the South Loop sits the Mccormick Place Convention Center, surrounded by the newest entertainment district in Chicago. This is where FBRANDS is revolutionizing the mixed-use commercial real estate experience, bringing to life Trecc, the Technology Renewable Energy Command Center, rocketing the real estate culture into the concepts of tomorrow and welcoming you to the future. For more information, visit FBRANDSLLC.com.
Well, for more information, visit LLC.com. The owners are all here.
FBRANDS welcomes you to the Windy City. Tourist attractions, fine dining, entertainment, and nightlife. In the heart of the South Loop sits the Mccormick Place Convention Center, surrounded by the newest entertainment district in Chicago. This is where FBRANDS is revolutionizing the mixed-use commercial real estate experience, bringing to life Trecc, the Technology Renewable Energy Command Center, rocketing the real estate culture into the concepts of tomorrow and welcoming you to the future.
We're trying to. There you go.
For more information, visit FBRANDSLLC. For more information.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I think that we're losing some of the details here. We're trying to back up a little bit. Please bear with us. There you go.
For more information,
So this is what I wanted to capture. I wanted to capture a certain spot of. So you see, I think you see a garage. I don't know if you see the car park there. Is this what it's going to look like? Literally, would the garage be that close to the building, DEJUAN?
Yeah. So the auto parking system is, built within the interior structure of the building.
Okay.
So, as long as we put a big glass there, folks will be able to see the system itself do its thing and work.
Wow. And that's what I wanted to ask to capture.
FBRANDS.com.
There was a site that I wanted to ask to zero in on during this video. And this is the restaurant part of the building.
It's the rooftop.
The rooftop. Okay. Okay. What is the total now? So the building itself is going to look somewhat like this. Let me see if you can back up a little bit. Somewhere here. I think it's somewhere in the back here. Right there. It's coming up. This is what we're trying to see. We're trying to just show the actual building, the floors, and just trying to give you a visual look of what we are talking about. Bear with us. Okay, right there. So this right here is what we're talking about. I think is okay. So as technology will have it, we're not able to. But anyway, no. I think our audience have an idea of what is coming. Can you tell us the cost of this project, please? DEJUAN.
Yeah, I can do that. So just to help folks out too, if they want to go to www.FBRANDS, BRANDS, LLC.com. And if you click on the About Us page, it has the full video there.
Absolutely.
For folks that want to see it themselves and kind of watch it firsthand. But total cost of this project right now is sitting at $69 million. So about a $70 million project cost.
Okay, and so let's talk about who are some of the community partners that you're trying to work with at this moment.
Community partners from which
in the city of Chicago, because I know you've been working with some community partner, some community organizers, or I'll say some community organizations that are already within the African diaspora that you are trying to collaborate with. I know you'll be working with, I know you are having a conversation with the Global Institute, Dr. King's organization, that type of thing. Yeah, we want to know these type of things that you're doing in the back end.
Got it. So I'm hoping I don't butcher some of these organizations' names. But Dr. Margaret King, to your point, with the Global Institute for Sustainability and Development. Also, Brother Reba Fellows with the Black Consortium, Books Over Balls, and the Black Agenda. Dr. Stanley Howard with the Civics Reading and Writing Institute. And then also Brother Cyron Smith with the University Block Club and all of its governors that are situated in 20 zip codes here in Chicago. Those are some of the partners that we're working with. There may be some others that we're missing, but the Coalition of African American Leaders have been extremely supportive. Craig Wimberly and his folks over there. And so, I mean, we're really connected into, the organizations on the South and West side, the folks that have been fighting the fight, have been, pushing for change, pushing for growth, pushing for economic development. Those are the folks that sort of make up our tentacles and really are part of the foundation of what we're doing.
Excellent. Thank you so much for responding. For your response. We again want to encourage our listeners to share the feed as you're watching. This is a huge project that is coming to the city of Chicago, really going to impact our communities. So we encourage you to share the feed on Facebook and on YouTube. Johnny, Johnny Audible says, yes, sir, my brothers. And I think, what's the name here? Audrey says, wow. The number to ring in is 815-277-5047. Some of you were trying to ring right from the beginning of the show, but we had not gotten the phone lines open. And now that you've heard a little bit more about FBRANDS and Trecc, please feel free to share your ideas, comments, or questions. You can actually just call and throw your support, because these are the things we need to support in our communities, guys. Here it is. We finally have a project that is geared to impact Black communities, minority communities economically. Okay, and so we definitely need your support. We would like to know what the support they want from the community, but before then, what has been your challenges, DEJUAN? SENYO, DEJUAN, what has been your challenge with this project so far? If you haven't had any challenge, thank God. Okay, actually, we would like to hear that there hasn't been any challenge. We want to hear that for the first time.
There hasn't been any challenges. There hasn't been
Thank you, SENYO.
been smooth sailing. I do want to. There's something that I wanted to touch on, and if you don't mind, if we can come back to it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and touch on now. Touch on.
No, we'll SENYO's background, and I'll be very brief. When he was in, Abu Dhabi, he got a chance to share a couple stories with me, and stories that really speak to the core of who we are and the core of what we're about. And so, one of the stories was dealing with a young girl who was, teenage girl, probably a young, I forget the age, SENYO can correct me, but she was waiting for her father.
She was 11 years old. 11-year-old girl waiting for her father to come pick her up to take her home from school. And so, in Abu Dhabi, they have one of the, what's the gentleman's title? I don't even want to butcher it. The guy that's the sort of the people person, or the sheikh.
He's the sheikh of the human capital of the folks within the city itself. Now, mind you, this guy is driving a Rolls Royce, and he has a bodyguard. But he approaches this young lady and asks her, hey, do you need a ride home? And so she kindly refused. And mind you, she's 11 years old. She said, no, I'm waiting on my father. My father is coming from work. He'll pick me up. We'll head home. And so the guy literally, the sheik took his time, got out of his, Rolls Royce car and sat there, engaged the young lady, the young girl in the conversation until her father arrived. And then turn around and bless the father financially. I want to say, what was it, SENYO, about 25,000 or what was it, about 50 grand or so?
$50,000. The issue was that the father was late in picking the daughter up because he had to work overtime, right? And when you think about our civic leaders and people in public office, that's the equivalent of Joe Biden, seeing a child standing at a bus stop after school, stopping, understanding the situation, not alarming the child, handling the child artfully until the parent got home, having empathy for the entire situation, and then making an economic gesture, right? A financial gesture that says, I understand what you're going through, and I'm here for you as a public leader. That story touched me, and like I said, DEJUAN is my constant collaborator. So as we're developing models and projects, it's not just about building these unique and forward-thinking structures, but the social design. The social design. How do we create pathways for empathy? Because those gestures go a long way, maybe even further than the structured Trecc itself. So thank you for bringing that up, DEJUAN.
And I'll be quick with this one. There was a young brother that I think that had started a business dealing with transport or something like that, delivery or transport. And so he ended up, taking out a business loan. The business failed, but they have a tribunal in which they kind of do a public lashing, and break and deconstruct, your problem and your failure, in essence, and why it failed, and then properly assess how to better build your business. And so in doing so, going through that process, they also was able to and provided a forgiveness to the guy's business loan that he took out. And so hearing that type of investment in your own human capital that some of these other wealthy countries are doing that we're really not doing in the U.S., let alone that we're not doing in the African and African American communities, is something that is really at the core of what we're about. Because as Senyo said, we can build as many structures as we want. We can make them fancy and all those things. But if we're not really touching people's lives, if we're not motivating them, if we're not unlocking their talent, if we're not there to support them financially when they make a mistake or when they need the assistance as they try to develop their talent, develop their skills, then we're truly not properly investing in our own human capital. And then that's one of the reasons why we've seen the U.S. sort of shift a little bit from its dominant position in the world globally, because there has been a shortage of investment in that human capital. And other countries that are doing that, we are seeing their rise. And so that's really what we're about. We're about really investing in people and supporting folks, because ultimately that is the most valuable asset that we have, life, human life.
Yeah.
So so that's all I wanted to share. And then we can transition here to the challenges. I know the question that you had, what were some of the challenges that we've experienced? So go ahead.
Yes, quickly.
So, I mean, just being a business owner, being an African-American business owner, access to capital ourselves, right? Finding the right investment partners, finding the right people that believe and understand our vision and what we're doing, and not, telling us what we're doing is crazy, or, they don't get it. Typically when you're a trailblazer and when you're doing things that are truly innovative, out of the box, and setting a new trend, not everyone is going to understand and get it. We've heard about the stories of Elon Musk with Tesla, almost on the brinks of selling Tesla and trying to sell it to Bill Gates before it finally hit. And so we've ran into those situations where we've had, people that we're connected to in high places, so to speak, or various investors and funds that initially were saying, no, we don't get what you're trying to do. We don't think it's, the proper product or prototype, but that's also because the way that we're approaching this is from bottom up. And more importantly, it's from the human capital perspective on how we cultivate and develop that skill. And so we've run into the same challenges that most small businesses that are in their startup businesses have encountered. People not understanding what you're doing, or not agreeing with it, or not supporting it, and poking holes through it, saying that it will never work. In addition to the right financial partners, we've ran into those as well. So it's been a journey for sure. But those things are all things that help sort of chisel you and modify you. And I think the pandemic has really been the biggest friend of us, because it really forced us, I would say, to tap into who we are and incorporate who we are into how we were going to develop our brand and our projects. That has probably been the biggest, fun and successful component that, in my opinion, adversity is part of the process. You have to understand it's part of building that fabric, part of building that makeup of who you are. If you don't have adversity to go through it, you really can't truly develop into the greatness that is there and tap into the greatness that is there. So I'll kind of be quiet and turn it over to Senyo as well.
Yeah, but I will also want you to, Senyo, so we are aware of AFTA, right? Africa Free Trade Area. How does Trecc, how significant is Trecc when it comes to doing Africa, doing business in America versus, and vice versa, doing business within the diaspora and on the continent of Africa? Because we know the Chinese are exploiting we know the story of the Chinese in Africa at the moment, especially Ghana. Ghana has the most populous Chinese, on the continent in the continent of Africa. Okay, the country that has the most Chinese citizens. I think it's about 700,000 plus Chinese citizens in Ghana right now. It tells you the rate at which China is invading Africa. How significant is this building, is Trecc project, going to be for the diaspora? If you don't mind responding to that.
it will be critical, and as we hear oftentimes in media, they say Africa is the future, and I would venture to say Africa is now and has always been. Africa has been the breadbasket of the entire world for quite a long time. Since the dawn of time, and to that effect, there's always been a struggle to keep the value, to keep the resources, and have equitable distribution and collaborations in that process. Whether you're talking of Africa or you're talking of Chicago, the black people of this earth historically have gotten the short end of the stick, whether it be because of poor infrastructure, poor funding, lack of know-how, what have you. And Trecc, the DNA of the project is built intentionally to address the areas of disadvantage that we have when it comes to dealing with collaborators the world over. So whether we're dealing with businessmen in Chicago that are not of our culture, but have the requisite skill set and resources necessary to collaborate on a project, or we're talking about doing it in Ghana and Chinese or Lebanese or what have you are on the other side of the table. The idea is coming to the table as ourselves, first and foremost, okay, having a strong foundation of who we are and why we're doing what we do. So, and being very steadfast, in terms of negotiating and doing deals that ultimately unlock value and retain value. I can do a deal one-off and go away, but what does it mean to the future of our communities if we were to just do these one-off deals and not think about the sustainability? My very own peace of mind is at stake when we transact business in that way. But if we take the holistic and collaborative approach and we think of sustainability first, that's why I love infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure, not just physical infrastructure, but business infrastructure. Who are our lawyers? Who are our accountants? Who are our financiers? Right? And do they have a like-minded spirit, a like-minded energy? Who are our manufacturers? Right? Who are our mining and suppliers? Right? So from the ground out to the end product, okay, if we have representation there, then we're able to control our own destiny. So you cannot. I am somebody that challenges the fact that it's entirely the Chinese fault and the Lebanese fault. Let's take some accountability. Let's take some ownership, and let's take our proper place in the affairs of the world. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's the point. That's the whole point. We have to do our part, which we have not been doing. Nobody stops us from trying to do business in Africa. And if I say us, I'm talking about the diasporans, right? And nobody's stopping Caribbeans or African Americans, especially who compared to Africans here in the diaspora, have the capacity and the resources to go out to Africa and develop or invest in Africa. And I think that this hasn't been done in the past. Hopefully Trecc as a business model can fill in these gaps that we have had in the past. It can be a stop, like you all said, it's a one-stop shop. Ministers, business investors, and politicians who wants to come here and look for resources back to Africa, vice versa. Trecc in Chicago, and Chicago being a major city in the country, can be that point where we exchange these types of economic development, resources, exchange type of capital investment, all that type of stuff, and so I think that it's an opportunity for us to look to the future with hope. And so we would it's 9 minutes to the end of the show. we want to ask that you keep sharing the feed. There are a few comments that have come through. This is from Doreen. Doreen says that Mr. ADOR, salute, proud mama number 2. So mama number 2 is giving you a thumbs up. Preach, you also right. This is Audrey, and that was when I think DEJUAN was talking, and then Doris Brown says, great job, guys. And I think that you guys have done a great job so far, man. Kudos to, your team. DEJUAN, quickly, if you've mentioned building from, doing this from the ground up, what exactly do you mean by that? I'm sorry, we can hear you. No, we can now. You're good now. You're good now.
Yeah, I mean, part of the DNA of Trecc is, the work that we're doing in terms of mentoring the next generation of folks, training people. Mm-hmm. And so, even with connecting with the master connector, Reven Fellows, big shout out to him. That's the kind of a big bro, old school, new school, young school, however you want to call it. We tag teaming together, but being able to make sure that, the people inside of the communities are part of the narrative and part of developing what that narrative is. How, for the longest and for decades and centuries, we've seen people outside the community tell us how we need to grow it, develop it, work together and partner. And I think with understanding, our purchasing power, understanding our skill set, mostly everything in this U.S. was created by an African or an African-American inventor. And those patents have been either taken from them or stolen within the companies that they work for. But when you talk about the ability to, really self-sustain and build a community that goes beyond just the stateside, but a global community, and partnering with the diaspora, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, you name it, Cote d'Ivoire, you name it, there's no reason why people in Chicago, people in Detroit, people in other cities that are Africans or African Americans should only be thinking about transacting business with the governments here, or even producing and manufacturing products that are only for here. And so really being able to bridge that gap and be that great connector to ensure the long-term sustainability. Because if we don't necessarily ensure that the community is developed from the ground up and that people from the ground up are participating in the process, then we will continue to have, what we've seen, which is resources go to certain areas only, certain school systems, education system, violence, people killing each other. There's a reason why, there is a disinvestment in the Black community, because if you don't vote, if you're not part of the political process, remember the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you're too busy killing each other, if you're too busy gang banging and fighting over streets that you don't own, then you can't pay attention to where the money is moving and how politicians are making policies that are truly impacting you. And so, we're excited about the connectivity of being able to, change the narrative. And I think I'll be quiet after this, but I was happy to see, that I believe it was the president of Ghana went over to Switzerland and let them know that they were going to change the direction of their partnership with respect to their cocoa and a number of things that Ghana has been supplying and making those people wealthy. Those are the type of actions, those are the type of things that we like to see happen. But more importantly, we must be ready here stateside to partner, to support, and continue to push and help them as they continue to push for their own independence, from other countries. We have to be that partner here so that way we can work together with them. We have ports here, we have ships here, we have human capital that can do that work as well. And more importantly, African Americans and Africans spend the most money globally, period. We do. It's a fact.
Thank you so much again for a great response. How long is this project supposed to, first of all, when is this supposed to start?
So we're looking to break ground sometime the fourth quarter of this year. We've started to engage some investors that have shown some strong interest in partnering with us and supporting us. So we've started to engage those folks, sit down with them. We've also have a financial component that we are putting in ourselves that we're navigating. But the end of this year is when we expect to break ground on the site, on the project. And it's going to be a 12 to 14 month construction process. And so we're hoping by that will be 2023, that first quarter, that Trecc will be open here in Chicago for business and people will be able to explore it and see it here and connect with us.
Is there anything that you foresee as an obstacle to this project not coming to fruition?
If we decided to give up and not press forward, I think that's the only thing that I see as the obstacle. We've made changes to fit within the existing zoning of that site, so that way that avoids any further pushback from the city on how aggressive and how bold we want it to be. But at this point right now, again, we're just we're in the final phases here, kind of the home stretch of getting closer to construction by engaging the proper partners and choosing the proper financial partners and investors that we want to be a part of this journey with us.
Thank you so much. Finally, last but not the least, I'll let you give us your closing remarks. What are you expecting from the community? Who are you what you want some stakeholders in the community to do in terms of their contribution to this project and to the entire community at large?
I would say, I think, be a part of the journey with us. We're not opposed to people reaching out. On our website, there's an information where people can reach out. But different community organizations, we're building, tons of support. We have support as we're going to be seeking to, secure some state dollars and federal dollars to support the workforce development components that we're doing. But ultimately, we're also looking to showcase what other people are doing, the same way we're doing things in terms of training, mentoring, and job placement. It's really, we want it to be a gathering, location for great minds, great organizations, and people that truly care about community. And so folks can reach out and vocalize their support, and we'll make sure we document it and keep adding them to the team here and part of the foundation that we're building here.
Well, thank you so much. You have been watching the Progressive Mind Show here in the city of Chicago. This is the #1 community building show in the world, where we engage community folks to discuss issues that are pertinent to us. We hope that we've been able to do justice to the owners, to the FBRANDS and Trecc project this evening. It's been 2 hours, so please bear with us. My guests have been brilliant. DEJUAN, you know what? I'm always tempted to pronounce it DEJUAN or DEJUAN. As a Ghanaian, Senyo, I know you're Ghanaian, but you're more American than Ghanaian, so you get it. You were able to pronounce it correctly, and when I try to learn from you when you pronounce it, but each time I forget. But when it's cool, anyhow I pronounce it, he's fine. He doesn't correct me, so I'm glad. I'm very grateful. We also want to encourage the community to support the Progressive Minds, because it's a not-for-profit, and we rely on your support to keep going this rate and to keep engaging you and keep bringing this very important community issues. And so please go on our website, thepmsshow.com. I think we're getting some feedback. Just bear with me. Let me take care of that. It is thepmsshow.com. thepmsshow.com. You can go there and make a donation to the Progressive Mind Show. If you just type the Progressive Mind Show on Facebook, on Google, it pops up. You can do that as well. We also have a Cash App, which is SENA. No, it's a $sign SENA, SENAALINCO, ALINCO. The $sign SENAALINCO. It comes straight to us. It goes a long way in helping us to keep bringing you these shows week in, week out. We're here every Wednesday from 6 to 8. And on Sundays, we are here from 2 to 4 p.m. CST. Wednesdays, 6 to 8 CST. Sundays, 2 to 4 p.m. CST. We will take our last remarks from our guest and try to bring this show to an end. We will start with Senyo, and the reason why I went to Senyo is that it's easier for me to pronounce Senyo. Okay, Senyo. So I'll go to I'll go to Senyo. It's safe. Senyo, well, it's been a wonderful conversation so far. I think that I myself have gotten a better understanding of this project, and I hope that our audience have too. But please go ahead and give us your closing remarks for tonight.
Thank you, Sena, and thank you for making this very important platform available for us to bring this message to the people. In closing, I would just say that you did ask, what do we expect from the community? I would say to merely engage. Okay, engage. Don't be on the sidelines watching history being made. Become a part of the conversation, and engage at Fabric Brands, www.FBRANDSLLC.com. Synergy Eco Solutions Enterprise as well. We love you, and we look forward to working with you in the streets. Let's roll our sleeves up and get something done.
Thank you so much, DEJUAN. Dwayne.
It's cool, Sena. It's cool. I echo Senyo. I mean, we appreciate you having us on this platform. Keep up the great work that you're doing, with connecting, the diaspora, Ghana, Nigeria, and Chicago here as we continue to move forward. We're excited about the project. We're looking forward to, really coming back and speaking more once this thing is under construction. Continue to speak of the progress, but we're excited, and we thank you for your time and considering us and promoting what we're doing.
I'm very honored to have engaged you guys on this on our humble platform, and I must also say and announce this. I know DEJUAN doesn't want me to say it, but I'll just say it today that he is the guy that has given the Progressive Minds our biggest donation ever. Since we've been in assistance, for over 4 years now. Okay, and this was not even. It was just we were just talking about something else, and this brother just was like, "Bro, let's see how we can support you." I mean, how and then he just, I really to this day appreciate you DEJUAN for that huge donation. Really appreciate it. Did a lot for us. We were able to pitching a lot for the show and for production, and so we really want to take this opportunity. The last time you were not watching, but we did announce it the week after you did the donation. We came here, we announced it, but now that you're here, we want to take the opportunity to acknowledge you and to let our audience please help us acknowledge DEJUAN and thank him for his great contribution to. If I say contribution, let me be specific. It's donation, okay? Monetary donation, not just verbal support, okay? Monetary donation, cash donation to the Progressive Minds. Want to take the opportunity again to thank you so much, and also to remind our audience that all this go a long way in supporting what we're doing. Senyo, you mentioned something which is very important in your last words for tonight, which is history. We shouldn't just sit back and watch history being made. History was the city of Chicago just chalked another history recently by renaming Lakeshore after the founder of Chicago, which is DuSable. So in the days to come, you'll be hearing Lakeshore. It will be changed to DuSable Drive instead of Lakeshore Drive. Okay, and so that is another history that has been chalked by the BHM coalition, Black Heroes Matter coalition, led by Ephraim Martins and I think Justice Sylvain. I've forgotten her name, but Ephraim Martin is the leader of the BHM coalition. I want to take the opportunity to recognize them, also to thank them and to wish them a big congratulations for a great job done. It has not been easy. Can you imagine getting the city to change Lakeshore, historic Lakeshore, the name Lakeshore, okay, to the DuSable Museum? It had been tough, but again, great job to that team. And want to thank finally our audience. You guys have been awesome, great. I really appreciate you all for chiming in and supporting Fabric Brands, FBRANDS, Trecc. It's all the same. And these great guys, DEJUAN and Senyo, have come to represent their company and the organization very well. They don't just only start for their company and the organization, they stand for the community. And I think this is what pushes them. This is the forefront of their project. Community impact future is what they're looking at. And so we really want to appreciate you guys. Again, check them out on their website, get for more information. Guys, till we meet again on this platform for another important conversation, I'll say have a very wonderful evening. It's been great having you all. To our audience, thank you all so much. This has been the Progressive Mind Show. Your host, being your host, Alinko. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. This coming Sunday, we shall be here 2 to 4 p.m. CST. Next week, Wednesday, we shall be here as well. Have a wonderful evening, guys. See you. Bye-bye. Welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Well.